At 10 o'clock tomorrow, we have a blockade going into effect so that Iran will not be able to sell oil.
Is this an example?
Your work here is done.
This doesn't look staged, does it?
They're all your favorites.
Has the blockade started, sir?
Yeah, started 10 o'clock.
Cal says you owe Pope Leo an apology. You want me to apologize?
No, I don't, because Pope Leo said things that are wrong.
Here's something you almost never see President Trump do: delete a controversial social media post after sharing an image that depicted him as Jesus Christ.
It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better.
How long, Kaitlan, is the Trump administration willing to continue this blockade on Iranian ports?
That's an open question still right now, Anderson. The president is still making clear he's hoping that a deal can happen, but it's not clear exactly why, Anderson. He feels that way, given obviously those talks this weekend did not go as the White House had hoped. Permission, forgiveness.
Can I give him a break? Thank you.
President Trump is not a doctor, and many Christians across America and the world were very offended by that.
And I just want to keep both of you on screen for a second, because I think some people might be watching and have never seen the two of you do an interview together before.
We both recognize that the system is broken.
It's nice to have the two of you together, so thank you for joining.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you, Kaitlan. Thank you, Ro.
Mr. Howman, will you take a few of our questions today? Mr. Howman, you've been involved in the negotiations on Capitol Hill to get ICE funded. What is the latest on that with House Republicans who don't like what the Senate has passed so far?
They say they want to reform ICE. They don't want to reform ICE. They want to shut ICE down. So, if they don't like what ICE does, change the law.
You don't think the war makes it harder for Republicans to maintain their majority?
And I'm not worried about the political consequences of a righteous decision.
Can I just ask, what would you have said to the president if he was attacking the Pope over what he said about Iran, if you were the national security advisor still?
Stop.
One of their newest announced attack what they earned. Take a camera, any camera.
Yeah, there are some cabinet officials who are coming out here with Caroline Leavitt today. The ceasefire that the president announced is set to expire just next week.
With respect to the blockade, as you know, it has been fully implemented, and it's being enforced against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports.
I'm optimistic that during the summer we will see gas with a 3 in front of it sooner rather than later.
Okay. Secretary Bessent, will you take a few more questions?
I guess that's a no.
I guess that's it. He's going to come back. He just wanted to cool off for a few minutes.
We went in to degrade their nuclear capacity. They discovered they have a nuclear option called the Strait of Hormuz.
There's a clear path. The criminal investigation gets wrapped up. Kevin Warsh has his hearings and a vote, and Jay Powell will no longer be chair.
I was dying to ask a question about it today, but alas.
I know it's just become a thing.
Oil goes way down.
Mr. President, why are you fighting with the Pope? And are you worried it's upsetting your
No, I don't.
supporters?
I have to do what's right. The Pope made a statement. He says Iran can have a nuclear weapon. I say Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
He said Iran can have a nuclear weapon. I'm like, he never said that. The Pope has repeatedly warned about the danger of nuclear weapons and actually called for a world that is free from a nuclear threat. My political sources are here tonight. Scott Jennings, who worked with Senator Mitch McConnell, and Ashley Etienne, who worked with the Vice President Kamala Harris.
The president today also said that he thought the blockade that he had put in place was even more effective than the wartime activities that we were engaged in.
The sense I had was the sense of fragility and feeling small, infinitesimally small, but yet this very powerful feeling as a human being.
What was your takeaway from what you heard from them in their first press conference?
This is historic. There will be discoveries made that will affect all of us.
We'll be talking about Iran later. We have very good conversations going on. It's working out very well. They got a little cute, as they have been doing for 47 years. And nobody ever took them on. We took them on.
Nicely done.
I wish I had a better question.
one man and two for the show.
Threats, confusion, and a clock that is very much ticking when it comes to the ceasefire deal with Iran. Part of that confusion even has to do with the second round of peace talks that we are now told are happening tomorrow in Pakistan. Do you have any idea of how you think this ends up based on where we sit tonight?
Well, I think the dominant mood for Trump is he wants out. He'll declare victory and hope he can get away with it. That's what I fear.
Joe Rogan said, hey, look into this. Trump goes, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. That was Trump who said that, right? Tonight, another Trump cabinet secretary is out. The labor secretary, Lori Chavez DeRemer, is stepping down to take a job in the private sector. Her tenure has been filled with serious allegations of misconduct.
I think that for everyday people, they're looking at this White House and they're saying, this is not what I voted for.
President Trump has extended the ceasefire with Iran as the United States is continuing to blockade Iran's ports and Iran is continuing to keep the Strait of Hormuz closed.
Great, thank you. Thanks, guys.
You guys could have walked in my shot.
Why all of a sudden is the deadline replaced by the complete opposite of a deadline?
Well, I think, Jake, Pakistan's prime minister asking the president to do this had a pretty big role in shaping this. Today, though, he just appeared in front of athletes here and he did not bring up Iran at all and left the room without taking any questions. How do you do your questions? It's tough because you're so limited in time.
Oh my God, the 5-minute thing.
It would kill me. Control room, you guys good to go?
Donald Trump is trying to get us to a place we were before he actually started a war. What a mess.
President Trump announced an extension of the ceasefire. He's maintaining and generously offering a bit of flexibility to a regime who has been completely tarnished because of Operation Epic Fury. But Operation Economic Fury continues.
What was he doing?
I don't know. They just talked. Nobody asked a question. I kept looking for somebody to ask a question. Nobody asked a question. So then, Secretary, any updates?
You're amazing.
What's the length on our block here?
About 10 minutes, I believe.
Cool. All right, rock and roll.
Awesome.
What President Trump now has to do is frankly get them to again agree to what they already agreed to, which should underscore the absurdity of the situation that we're finding ourselves in.
America needs a new healthcare system. The healthcare system that we have costs twice as much as any other industrialized country in the world.
I mean, for the past 7 weeks, it's really been crazy at the White House. I prefer for my questioning to be on camera. I think it's better. In terms of the timeline here and what this looks like, you know, the president initially said 4 to 6 weeks. It was a timeline that he repeated many times. So did Caroline Leavitt. But now, Jake, of course, we have stretched into the 7th week, 5th day by my count since this war started. And when the president was asked multiple times about the timeline, one of his quotes was, "Don't rush me."
I don't want to rush myself, you know, because every story says, oh, Trump is under time pressure. I'm not. No. You know who's under time pressure? They are.
Also, our global affairs analyst, Kareem Sajapur, as well as Jeff Mason. And Jeff, you were the one inside the Oval today. What stood out to you about his answers?
I think a legitimate question for the leader of this country. It got under his skin. Look at this independent.
I mean, Scott, negative 55. Good Lord.
People, I think, admittedly, are still feeling the pinch of high cost of living in the United States. They didn't create high cost of living, but they were hired to fix it.